Okay, so the question is, if you drive at night, does everybody have to wear seatbelts, or can somebody sleep in the back while the other is driving? The answer is everybody wears seatbelts, even Guillermo. He has his seatbelt here with Grogu. They got their seatbelts. And we all do wear seatbelts. Only one time I was really super tired and I did sleep in the back, but otherwise it is the law for all of us to be in our seats with our seatbelts on whenever we're driving. How does Lily climb up to her bed?
Like this.
Did we see any bald eagles on the water where we're parked with the camper? The answer is no, unfortunately we didn't. But last week, yeah, we saw lots of hawks. But last week we were actually at Dollywood where they have a bald eagle rescue. So we actually did just recently see bald eagles, but not free ones flying around. What if Andy gets tired when driving?
Well, I try to stick to shorter drive days. We try to do only about 3 or 4 hours. That keeps me from getting cramped up, keeps me from getting tired, but also gives us the chance to experience where we end up a little bit longer when the sun's still up. We also are able to stop at rest stops or at truck stops. We'll stop and we'll be able to take naps if we want to. But other than that, we just try to make it as brief a drive as possible.
Do things ever fall over while we drive? The answer is sometimes. Usually they don't. We secure everything pretty well so it doesn't fall over. We're actually driving right now, that's why I'm bouncing a little bit. But things don't usually fall over because everything has a place for when we're driving. But occasionally we hit a big bump or something and something will fall over. How many miles have we driven in the RV? When we first purchased the RV, it had 39,000 miles on it. Now it has 46,382 miles on it. I'll let you take a moment to figure out how many miles we've driven. Okay, so the answer is we have driven 7,382 miles since we left California on December 19th, 2020. We have driven from California to Florida and then up to New York, and now we're heading to Missouri. Where does the water go when you flush the toilet and shower, etc.? So we actually have 3 tanks. One is for fresh water, which goes in over here, and that fresh water is in there if we're not hooked up to water. See this, we're hooked up to water so water can go in. If we can't be hooked up because we're in the middle of nowhere, we have our own tanks for water, so that's one tank for fresh water. The second tank is for gray water. Gray water is what comes out when you do the dishes, when you shower, when you wash your hands, and so that's the water that collects in a tank. For that. And then the third one is black water. That's the water that's for the toilet that holds like your pee and your poo. So this hose that Andy's hooking up right now goes into the ground, and all of the gray water and the black water tanks will flush out there into a sewer system at the campground. So it doesn't automatically just come out. You actually don't want that. You want it to collect inside the tanks before you let it out. And so there's 2 levers. One lever's for gray water and one lever's for black water. So once we've collected enough, he'll pull the levers and it'll go out that sewer hose right there. Do the beds have seatbelts? Nope, they're just regular beds. How much does an RV cost? RVs can cost anywhere from a few $1,000s for a trailer, or a fifth wheel, which you tow with a truck, or tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands for an RV motorhome. So our RV was just over $13,000 because it is a used RV. So it was 27 years old when we bought it. Does Lily do virtual school or is Lily homeschooled? Lily does not do virtual school. Lily is homeschooled and we teach her. And we do a combination of homeschool, unschool, and road school. And these are all of our homeschool materials right here. Traditional homeschool is a lot like school you're used to just at home. So it follows a curriculum kind of similar to the one you're used to at school. Unschool is a little different. Unschool is led by the student, so it's all about what the student is interested in learning about, and it's also very hands-on. So lessons are based around what Lily's interested in. And then road school is something that you do on the road, and it's based on wherever you are. So like when we were in Florida, we swam with manatees and spent a whole week learning about manatees. It can be, a school day can be just going on a hike or visiting a museum. How does Lily stay in her bed at night? Is there a net or something?
No, there is nothing there, but I'm really good at not falling out of my bed, and the bed is actually really big, but I sleep at the edge, so I have a higher chance of falling off. But I've never fallen off.
Why do you sleep at the edge?
I don't know. I really don't. I really don't know why.
Well, then I guess it's a miracle you've never fallen out.
Yep.
Are you allowed to be up in your bed when we're driving?
No, I'm not. Because it's even more dangerous when the RV is moving.
How do you make money on the road? We have an Etsy shop, so we sell all of these, this jewelry and accessories and things that I make. We also do video editing, graphic design, and photo retouching. Can you get to the cab from the main part of the RV? Yes, you can. You can just climb right through here, and then you're in the cab. Is the sword in the bathroom real? Yes.
It is a real sword, although it is not a sword, it's a saber. And it was given to me from my time in the Air Force. I was in the Honor Guard, so when I was in the Air Force, I would go to military funerals or parades or events in an Honor Guard uniform, and we would do drills. So anyway, it is real. It's not terribly sharp. It's got a pointy tip. It's enough to run somebody through, but that's about it. Other than that, it's mostly decorative, but it is very much real.
How do we connect to internet on the road? Most of the time at our campgrounds and RV resorts, we have Wi-Fi. And other times we just use our phones as hotspots. And we all three have phones. And so when we don't have internet, which does happen sometimes, we will play games together, sit around the fire, take walks, cook, watch DVDs, and just have a fun time. Do you get car sick?
Yes, I do get car sick. Usually we only drive 3 to 4 hours a day, and my head and my stomach are the only things that hurt, and the only way to make the pain go away is to take a nap.
How do we do the laundry on the road? A lot of the campgrounds and RV resorts that we stay in actually have laundry facilities, so we just use those. Do you ever get claustrophobic or anxious being inside a small space? Nope, I do not. And if I do feel that way, I just go outside. How about you?
I do, but really I only do it when it does happen. I go outside.
Yeah, we've got a whole big giant world, and so we just go outside and relax. But it's actually not that small inside. What happens if you need to go to the doctor or the dentist? So for the doctor, we'll often just go to an urgent care. We're all relatively healthy, so we haven't had any problems, luckily. We were able to get our COVID vaccines when we were on Long Island. And for the dentist, we actually had to go to the dentist a few times. We were lucky enough to be near my cousin who's a dentist, so we saw him when we were in Florida. And then when we were on Long Island, we took Lily to the orthodontist I went to when I was growing up. Has the RV broken down? No, thank God it has not broken down. We haven't had that problem yet, so we're very, very lucky and grateful for that. But when you have an RV, you do have to learn to do a lot of things yourself and learn about how it works. That way, when it's just a small problem, you can fix it yourself, like we learned how to change our own oil. Do you have to park at an RV resort or campground? The answer is no, you don't. We belong to a couple of things. One is called Boondockers Welcome, which essentially is just staying in people's driveways. They offer their driveways and you can stay there, hook up your electric and water, and stay there for a night or two. We also have something called Harvest Hosts, where you can stay on a farm or at a museum or something like that for free. So you just park outside and sometimes you can hook up and sometimes you can't, but they're super fun to stay at. We stayed at a Harvest Host that was a cheese farm and it had lots of adorable baby cows and we got to feed them. How long have we been living in the RV?
We have been living in the RV for 6 months. We moved in on December of 2020.
How long do we plan to live in the RV? We're actually not totally sure. We'd like to do at least a year of living and traveling in the RV, but after that, we're kind of going to decide if we'd like to keep going or if we'd like to settle down somewhere. Have you ever gotten tired of living in the RV? If you have, what did you do? Did you stay in a hotel? We haven't actually really gotten tired of living in the RV, but we've had lots of opportunities where we got to spend a little time with family and we stayed in their house. And we did have a few times where we stayed in a hotel, and those times were actually because it was during spring break and all of the RV parks were totally full. We couldn't get a reservation, so we just kind of had to get a hotel. What happens if you get tired of each other in the RV? Well, luckily, we don't really get tired of each other too often. We have our bedroom back there and the door does close, so someone can go back there to get away. Lily has her own space and she can close her curtain for some privacy. And then we can also go outside anytime we want or take a walk or something if we need to get away. Do you have window covers for privacy and for temperature and stuff? Yes, we do. So these are our window covers for some privacy, but this right here is this thermal stuff, and that keeps in heat and cold. So we do. And we also have a curtain that we hang up across here if we'd like some privacy that way too. Why did you want to live in an RV? Well, we actually were about to buy a house, or actually a condo in Southern California, and housing is very expensive there. And we realized if we bought this house, we wouldn't be able to take any vacations or travel at all for at least 5 years after we bought it. And we kind of talked about it and we realized that the only thing we both really wanted to do was travel, and that we didn't want to spend every weekend and all of our money taking care of a house and staying in one place. And we watched a couple YouTube videos of people who were doing the same thing, and we thought about it and we decided we wanted to do it. It took about 3 years, almost 3 years, about 2.5 for us to get ready to really take off and live this lifestyle, to get rid of all of our stuff and to learn about it, to buy an RV, and also to save up money.
Yep.
I saved my favorite question for last, which is, what is your favorite place that you visited? We have been to so many amazing places, it's really hard to pick just one place. We went swimming with manatees in Florida, we went to a lavender farm in Florida, we went to the Kenny's Farmhouse Cheese in Kentucky where we fed baby cows, we went to an amazing campground in Alabama, we went to a super cool museum called the Grave Face Museum in Savannah, Georgia. We also did a ghost tour there. We went to the International Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. That was super duper cool. We went to Dollywood in Tennessee. And of course, we went to Disney World in Orlando, and that was amazing. So there's so many amazing places. Every day we see super cool things everywhere we go, and it's been a really amazing, super fun journey so far. And I just can't wait to see what we do next.